What's up, peeps? Trevor with eCommerce Paradise coming at you today with a new video about niche selection, product research, and supplier sourcing for high-ticket dropshipping. If it's your first time watching a video or listening to a podcast episode, definitely subscribe and hit that like button. And also get my free niches list for high-ticket dropshipping at ecommerceparadise.com/niches. So let's get into it. The first thing everybody wants to know is, what product should I sell online? It's a huge and difficult question to answer because it really depends on a lot of different factors, factors that are subjective and objective. So I'm going to try to get into some of that today. But the main things are that, number one, you want to choose something that is expensive. Right? High-ticket dropshipping products need to be like $1,000 to $2,000. If you're trying to dropship $300, $400 products, it might be kind of difficult to make enough profit to have a sustainable business. So if they have the right price point or higher, then it's really good. And I always like products that are somewhere in like $1,000 to $5,000 range. I think they're perfect. When you start going over that $5,000 range, they start becoming kind of harder to sell. More sales effort is required, sometimes more customer service as well. So $1,000 to $5,000 is the price range we usually look for. And you want to go and do some research and try to find some competition. There's really got to be some competition out there, some niche stores already selling the product that you want to sell, that you think you want to sell online. If you need to get ideas still, it's really easy to go get ideas. Just go to Amazon or eBay or any big marketplace, even just Google Shopping, and look for their categories. There should be like a list of categories somewhere, and you can just look through those and look for expensive product ideas. And if you don't know, then just take the product category keyword and plug it into Google and see how much the average price is until you find something that's expensive, $1,000 to $5,000. So once you've found a product category that's an idea, type it back into Google Shopping and look for competitors. And usually niche competitors are going to have the product category keyword in the domain name, or like a synonym of it or something like that. So look for those types of competitors and then check to see if they have a retail store or not. If they don't have a retail storefront, then they're online only, and they are probably having their suppliers dropship for them. And so that means that all the suppliers that they have, all the brands that they have, then you can probably call up those same suppliers and get them to dropship for you too. So that's the beauty of it. Super simple, right? Now, here's the complexities. When it comes to choosing different products, high-ticket products are generally very complex. And so that means they have lots of different, like specifications and features and benefits, pros and cons, things like that. And so every single niche is going to be different. And so what I usually recommend is, if you have any prior experience, or if you have any kind of like passion for a particular high-ticket product, and it's usually more of an experience than passion, but if you have any experience with high-ticket product categories in the past, what I'd recommend is that you start there, because you're going to have an upper hand with understanding the complexities of that niche and the target market and what they're looking for and things like that. And so do your first store in that niche. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. You'll learn a lot in the process, and you can choose another niche and then know that you're going to have to do a ton of research to understand that product, how it works, and the target market, what they need, and then you're going to be able to build a better business around that. So, for example, I started working for a company in Los Angeles in my college years called Intermountain Lock and Security Supply, and it is a lock and security hardware supply company. It's a wholesaler. So they're in Los Angeles as well as Utah and Washington and a bunch of other places. And it's a it's like a medium to large size company. They have a bunch of warehouses, locations, they distribute all over the world. So they're a decently sized company. And I started working in the warehouse, and I worked my way up into doing like receiving and returns and all sorts of stuff, and helping with the sales staff. And then I got promoted to the sales team, and I helped with sales, did marketing, all that stuff. And in that process, I really learned how wholesaling and the supply chain and how, everything works with the wholesale process. So you have the manufacturer, and then you have the wholesaler, then you have the retailer, then you have the end user. That's usually the supply chain. But as I was kind of going through that process, what started becoming really popular was dropshipping back in those days. And what I realized is that I no longer had to be a physical retailer. A lot of these people that would come in and buy from me, these locksmith guys, would set up websites, these online only websites, and they would either have like a little physical locksmith shop or not, and they would not stock their own products. They would actually have the wholesaler stock the products for them, or even the manufacturer, and they would have them ship it directly to their customer when they got a sale. and they call it dropshipping. So I was like, wow, this is a great idea. This is definitely how we should do business, because if you don't do business this way, then I don't know what you're doing, because this is the way to do it in the future if you want to be location independent. Unless you just want to scale and you want to make a bigger business, that's fine too. But really the idea is that you need to choose something that you're passionate about, and it's also going to serve your passions. So for me, like, I'm passionate about skateboarding, I'm passionate about traveling, I'm passionate about, adventuring and stuff like that, outdoors lifestyle. So I wanted to pursue a business that supported that. So when I found dropshipping and the idea of it being location independent, I realized, man, this is the best thing, because I can have the time and kind of be my own boss and work my own hours, but be able to put aside the time to go out and do whatever I want, whenever I want, really. I needed to adopt a mindset of responsibility and work ethic, because as being an entrepreneur, you really need to have a good work ethic. So it's like constantly driving your business forward, that kind of thing. But you do have the opportunity to go and do whatever you want, really. So at the end of the day, you are free to choose, which is the best thing. It's the freedom. It's time freedom, basically. And of course, financial freedom will come along with that eventually as well. So, that's basically where I started, was working with security stuff. So I started selling, safety and security stuff and drop shipping that online. And I had a store that sold survival kits, and that did fairly well. And then I had a store eventually that sold safes. And it's because I understood the complexities of those products. There's a lot of complexities that I was able to do decently well with these stores. And I also had a store selling bicycles. That was pretty interesting, because I've always been passionate about bicycles. I know how they work. I know what the components are called and how they work together, and even how to repair bikes and maintain them and stuff. So for me, it was very natural. So for you, I would recommend choosing something that naturally you're already experienced with. You understand how it works, how to put it together and assemble it, install it, whatever, how even like the delivery of it works and stuff like that. Who the brands are, who the name brands are in the industry, all that stuff. If you already have an upper hand with that, that's a huge step forward than trying to start from scratch with an industry. So definitely go for something like that. But first, make sure it's the right price point. There's competition, there's suppliers. And then also you can check other things like Google Trends and make sure that it's not just like a dying fad or something like that, that it's an evergreen niche. Right now, I'm making this video September 2023. We're in a bit of a mild recession right now. And what I would recommend for recession niches, recession-proof niches, is things that people need. Okay, so if you're selling a product that people just kind of want, there's probably going to be less people buying that product than if it's something that actually people really need. So I would just look for niches like that. Safety and security is always great through a recession, because people need to protect their valuable assets more than ever, right? And things like bicycles might they might sell well, like the less expensive ones, or like the ones that are made specifically for transport or for businesses, things people need. But the more like frou-frou ones, the more crazy ones that, are just kind of for fun, might not sell as well, right? The same thing kind of goes, I guess, if you were looking at like survival kits are probably really good through a recession, because it's something that people are always going to want to need. Or they're always going to need no matter what, because they need to have that. Like if something goes bad, then they're going to want that. So toys, okay, maybe just not the like really expensive ones. Also keep in mind, during a recession, it's hard for people to get financing. Interest rates are higher right now because the Fed has raised rates and continue to raise them, and has not started lowering them yet. And this is to combat inflation. So inflation has come down a lot. Right, freight costs are back to normal after the pandemic, but interest rates are staying high. So it's harder for people to get financing, and they're not going to really get financing for something they don't really need usually. Okay, so definitely just keep that in mind, guys, and do a lot of research. Find as many different niche possibilities as possible before you choose one. I would say like make a list of 10 to 100. If you're in that like 30, 40 different niche range, that's good. Just put them through all the different filters. You got to have a good price point. At least 5 to 10 competitors, at least 20 to 30 suppliers. I would say that definitely you want to have some experience with it before. Like if you can make a video about your niche and how they work, then that means you have experience in it. If you can't, then that means you don't have any experience with it. Okay, so just ask yourself that question. Is it trendy? Is it trending up or down or flat? If it's flat, it's probably just an evergreen niche. Is it seasonal? Another thing to think about. Is it a seasonal niche? Is it going to sell better in the summer? Is it going to sell better in the winter? Most niches are always going to be seasonal in the fall and early winter because of the holidays, but a lot of niches are going to be dead in the summer, and a lot of niches are going to be dead in the winter. So it's just like you got to decide which one you want. And if you have more experience but it's seasonal, just at least get into it, but know what you're getting yourself into so that you can like lower your advertising costs, come dead season, slow season. That kind of thing. So I hope this video is helpful, guys. Really, research is the most important thing. Keep that in mind and have the best mindset you can possibly have getting into this. It's going to take a lot of work. The first try that you have with anything is not always going to be successful, but if you keep trying enough times and you learn and you find a mentor and you learn from them, you're bound to be successful eventually. And speaking of mentors, guys, I am a mentor. I provide a high-ticket dropshipping course called the High-Ticket Dropshipping Masterclass, and I provide services as well as private coaching. So if you're interested, you can go check that out at ecommerceparadise.com/masterclass. And I provide a turnkey service as well, where my team builds you a high-ticket dropshipping business. You can check that out, ecommerceparadise.com/turnkey. And also get my free niches list, ecommerceparadise.com/niches. Get kind of a head start, get a bunch of ideas. There's a list of good niches and a list of niches to avoid. And generally speaking, they're just like less expensive and lower quality versions of the ones that are good. So definitely get into that and kind of understand that and watch my video about that about a bit as well. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment below about any specific niche questions you have or niche ideas, and let me know. I'm happy to help. See you out there.